This
theme to the
conference will now be
discussions.
recorded.
If where there's common themes, potentially combining some sessions and seeing if you can get a little better continuity if you have two sessions as one, if you will.
Yeah.
Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
This is Kate here. Carl, I didn't know. I just joined because I saw on the agenda that you were going to be doing some of these reviews. I have to drop at 11 Eastern. So I didn't know if you wanted me to just kind of give a quick update on, you know, the reviews and an overview of the timeline and, you know, next steps on what we need from the project leads in terms of these reviews and selections.
Okay, yeah. Feel free to explain what needs to happen now. I'm happy to support it or to answer that. Yeah.
Sure. I actually do not have. I can't share my screen. My system preferences aren't updated. So, Carl, do you have the track sheet that I had sent?
I'm sure. Just a second. I'll allow you to be a presenter now. Try and see if you can share your screen now.
Yeah, it's my system.
Okay. Let me see. Kate, that's the FN review training for Friday. That was on Friday, right? There was a review training.
Yeah, but this was an email I sent last Monday.
I saw. I see the track sheet here. Wait a second. I'm gonna share my screen. This is the email, right?
Yeah. So if you click here for the track sheet, yep. I'll just give a quick overview of that. I know some of you on the call have heard this maybe on other review calls. But yep, so this tab just gives like a brief overview of all of the tracks. The OCP Foundation team got together after the submission period closed and went through and identified some of the common themes, strategies, priorities, all of the things were considered, and we landed here with the current room space and time allotment based on the space that we have. So as you can see, yep, the DCF and Rack and Power projects were combined into one session or into one track. However, it is a total of 3.5 hours. So if you guys want to split up equally in terms of the number of sessions you get or the amount of time, we can do that to make sure that it's equal. That 1 hour break is set across the board. That is the same that happened last year. We had an afternoon snack break that was sponsored, so everybody was encouraged to go to the expo hall during that time. The deadlines page, go to the deadlines tab. That's just a quick overview. Carl, on the deadlines tab.
Yep, of course.
Yep, just a quick overview of the timeline. So we do have the current deadline of next Friday, July 14th, to have your selections and reviews done. Then the following week, the week of the 17th, we'll be sending our accept and unaccept emails. And then July 24th is when we will go live with our schedule to our community and anybody who's registered. The schedule tab, you'll see. Yep, if you go to the schedule tab, yep. This is probably looks similar to most of you, but this is where we build out the schedule. Like I said, those breaks are fixed. You guys will start at 12:30 right after lunch on day 2 and go until 5 o'clock. So as we complete the schedule and make your selections, this is where we'll populate the schedule. This is where, you know, you guys can set your durations. One thing I did not mention, but I did mention in the email, is that all sessions are a minimum duration of 20 minutes, and that is inclusive of transition time. So
okay.
I know previously we had 15 minutes, but we did not account for transition time. And as you guys know, transition time does take place naturally. We have to switch out laptops, presenters. There is that natural 1 to 2 minute transition time that happens. So that is why we have the minimum duration of 20 minutes. Now you can have 20, 25, 30, 35 minutes. I know you mentioned, combining some sessions. You can certainly do that. Just keep in mind, we do have the minimum of 3 speakers, or a maximum of 3 speakers per 20-minute slot. So 3 speakers is already kind of a lot for 20 minutes. It's a little bit over 5 minutes per speaker, but just keep that in mind as you're combining some of these sessions as well.
Yeah. Okay. Now, since this is now still empty, we'll put everything from the Modular Data Center group in there as a first base session, and Brad has to sell it then to Madhu. No, but well, I think we should have a meeting, and last time we were able to accommodate all meetings by combining them for the regional summit, and I think now it will be just a bit more of an intense of a process, but I think we should be able to manage that.
Yeah, and just know that we did receive a 25% increase of submissions this year, so a lot of the tracks are kind of in a similar situation where we just have to make cuts. Best content wins. We're looking for quality over quantity. And we do constantly get that feedback from attendees that they prefer longer, deeper dives of sessions versus quick 10, 12-minute sessions.
Yeah.
And then on the abstracts tab on the track sheet, I did put just an export of all the submissions. So you'll see there on that abstracts tab of the track sheet, the list of them there, but they are all in F and review as well. Any questions?
Abstract. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
Yep. So these are also combined with, the rack and power submissions as well. So you'll see as you're going through here, you may not have to review all of them. You may just review the ones that pertain to DCF.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And then lastly, if you do see any submissions that you think belongs on another track or may not belong on yours, please have those submitted ASAP, because all these other tracks are going through, doing their submissions, making their selections, and it's not fair to throw something on their plate and vice versa. So we've been making that very clear. I'll be sending out a reminder email today to all the tracks and project leads associated with those tracks, and give a friendly reminder about that. But if you have any questions, you know how to reach me, or I'll open the floor if you guys have any questions here.
Yeah, my question, since we have you here, Kate, would be to Brad. Since we have you here on the call, have you been able, or with Madhu, to go over these already? Unfortunately, I think last week's data center facility leadership call I unfortunately missed, so I assume that could have already been topic.
Yeah, we did discuss with Madhu last week. So he kind of had his quote unquote marching orders and was going to make his reviews and selections. So if you go in the F and review portal where all of this information is, you'll see if he's made his selections in that portal.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. All right. No, then I think if anybody else has a question regarding their submission order, then thanks so much, Kate, and you're off. We're happy to get you off the hook.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Carl.
Hi, Stevie.
Hi, Stevie Lynn with Rockstick. Sorry, I just have a quick question, and I apologize because I have to jump on a flight here in a few minutes. Will this track sheet be shared with everyone, or is it somewhere already that's accessible to the project leads, or?
So I sent it to, if you go to the contacts tab, Carl, on this track sheet, I sent it to the people that were listed here, specifically from our team, but I can add anybody who is going to assist with these reviews. We have a whole nother portal that we use to make these reviews and selections. So Carl, I'll leave it up to you and Madhu on, and even Brett.
I think Brad is trying to say something, but we're not hearing you yet. You're on the
No,
phone.
I'm trying to think of the nicest way to say I haven't had a chance to look at this yet.
Okay. Okay, no problem.
I did try to get in last week. I saw a couple requests for some track changes, and I had difficulty at that point. But I think that's with a different portal, right? I have not been in FN Review yet.
No. Yeah.
What is our deadline on this, Kate and Rob and Bijan? When's the selections need to be made? I am trying to unbury from my inbox at the moment, so I'm sure I'll come across the email. But if somebody could just give a quick summary, I appreciate it.
Yep.
I think you joined late. Kate was talking about this. I just jumped back, and I think you said next Friday is the next deadline.
Okay.
Yep, and then the following week is when all the submitters and speakers who submitted a abstract or submission will be notified. We've been getting a lot of questions of, hey, when am I going to find out if I was accepted or not? So we have some antsy submitters.
Okay. Great. No, that's so
Oh,
much
thank you
for
for
our
that.
organization, I think. Yeah. All right. Perfect. Hi, Bijan. Nice of you to join. You have any particular interest or topic today you want to bring in there?
No, I have a limited amount of time before I have to jump, but there was a topic of let me look here. Yeah, there's a couple in here that I'm curious how you guys are going to rate them, but I guess I'll give you guys time to look through all these abstracts.
Yeah. So we can have, but we could have a different session, because I don't think we go in this meeting over all the abstracts, because we need probably Madhu and Brett for that to have a weighing system of what's in them, or how it's leveraged in the different positions.
Okay, well then can we talk about the base spec? Is that a good time to switch to that, or?
Yeah, I think I have only one more positive news for you. I don't know if you saw or heard or something, but I'm an OCP starter member, and I'm now able to make even more crazy ideas reality, or specs. So thanks for all your ongoing support, and I'm happy to continue. Yeah.
Awesome news.
Congrats, Carl. Glad to have you further entrenched.
Thanks, Rob. I think it's perfect that you spoke up, because you were very enthusiastic about the base spec, and I recall last times we wanted to have a separate call with you and make use of your vision for this. And my idea also was because we have, I think, a lot of those, base requirements for the base spec is actually in the OCP Ready program, right? So if we combine what we already have in terms of specification and form factors, combined with what goes into an OCP Ready data center, I think we should be able to create like a base standard quite quickly. What do you think, Rob?
I think that makes good sense. I think you'd be, all those levers will be rowing in the same direction if we can put the base spec together.
Perfect. Yeah, I started reaching out a little bit in terms of, having basically all the other existing module data centers that we might not have on the call, like the Rittals, the Vertivs, the Schneiders. I was reaching out to Rob Bunger, so to able to maybe like fact check it or offset it, or even be able to pull them in again here, and to present what they are doing as a data center. We're trying to do that, for example, with Dell's lineup, with Delta's modular data center lineup, and then on the back end trying to get them integrated in the space spec effort.
Yeah, my view is that if you take, you have a lot of good information that you can pull a base spec together. Keep this in mind. If you can increase modularity, you increase flexibility for future contributions built on top of this, right? So try to keep that in mind when you build this base spec. Is try to make it modular as possible, every aspect of it, because you never know how something could be leveraged into something really interesting in the future.
That's a very good point, because what you said is exactly right. In the back of in my background picture today is a just recently finished project of a water cooled modular data center, and it's interesting because it has so many different components. You see, there is an external UPS, there is a diesel generator, there is air cooling in that, there's liquid cooling, there's UPS piping, all sorts of solutions, and the base spec should enable any data center components manufacturer or complete integrator to be able to build upon of that. Either they are able to build the base spec, or they can highlight how their product looks inside of that modular data center. So, and if that means it's only just like a box, with a door, to enable everybody to fit in the technology, then that's the minimal requirement, or the minimum agreement. But I think that we want to build the de facto platform for anybody to highlight their cooling UPS. We have Rockstack here. And any type of solution that they potentially have. So that would
I mean, you have the potential to build an ecosystem, right? So of the more modularity. I mean, we have another group, composable memory systems, and this composable systems, the fundamental, bottom line is that they allow kind of mix and match to different, system architectures. You guys are the original composable, type of system. I mean, this could, if you enable any generator, any or any type of generator, any type of interface, any type of rack system, whatever, right? And it's all plug and play. Then you create a magnificent ecosystem. A lot of people can, leverage this in the industry and make a lot of money and do a lot of good things.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also would be happy to contribute, the design files for that, on some agreements, and maybe work with likes of Rittal and Vertiv to also, mix and match 19-inch and 21-inch OCP racks. This was something that I think Steve Halvey was also happy or keen to see that kind of interchangeability, and so that is something we would try to to get an agreement for.
Perfect. Yeah, because it touches so many places, right? The sustainability and equipment guys and edge guys and all kind of stuff. So you have you have a great platform here that you can enable a lot of different ecosystems.
No, perfect. I agree. All right. That being said, Rob, you said last time something very important or interesting to get this off going quickly, to use the existing specifications, obviously, that we have in terms of the Schneider PCX solution. And there was one point you were making that one can't still quite grasp. Let me pull up my my notes if I'm gonna find it quickly again. It's the base spec, short form and dimension, existing standard noise, input, output, deployment options, climate controls. Yeah, no, I think we just try to form a quick alliance, and whoever wants to share in that, and then we should be able to get that going. Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize. I have to drop at the top of the hour for another project call, but I think we have a lot of resources available to us already. It could be more efficiently organized to create that ecosystem that Bijan was talking about. The existing specification has a lot of details around what the contents are, but I think last time we spoke, Carl, the focus on the envelope might be an opportunity. And PCX and Schneider, Wooden Data Center, I think everybody could join in on that to talk about their perspective around transportation, lifting methods, minimum requirements for content of the document. It doesn't have to be that detailed, but with the goal of being as modular as possible, as Bijan said, is probably the best for a base spec. And then each of those companies could decide to contribute a design spec on top of that based on their perception and their solution of what they think is most useful to what they sell, their customer base, whatever it may be. And maybe some of those companies still stay together at some of those design specs and can collaborate on separate design specs.
No, absolutely. It's very easy or to form different variants of some form is doing the electric part, other ones the climate part, as you would on building a site, putting together different partners and be able to contribute on the same design spec. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I think in that existing specification, if we took the Swedish modules specification, the PCX Schneider specification, and found commonalities in those documents, you could probably create a base spec, or at least the majority of the base spec, just by extracting the common points out of those two documents.
Yeah.
And then applying it to the new template. I think the new template, the base spec template, is very useful, and almost using those existing specifications as the text, as the book, and the template as a fill in the blanks, if you will. And then it gives an opportunity for this community to review those specifications, which have aged now. They're going on probably 6-7 years old, 6 years or more now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some considerations have probably been brought into the light over the last 5 years.
Yeah, my predecessor wanted to raise the 90 kilowatt specification. That was one of his endeavors, which effectively Brad did in the use case of the white paper that we are close to finish, and I think that's something that we can update the spec easily with, right? Saying, look, this type of different configuration, this type of side cooler would encourage a higher air cooled solution, right? And even a reduced footprint.
Yeah, I think we centered on KW because the market was asking for building blocks based in KW, but I think things have certainly changed, as you guys have highlighted with your different approaches. So happy to communicate further through email or jump on a separate call to support this base spec. So please let me know. Bijan Bijan, myself, and the rest of the foundation are here to support. So let us know how we can help, and I'll have to jump off here.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah, for everybody who has to jump away on 7, thanks for joining. See you soon. And yeah, I think we probably will make heavy use of that global summit meeting capability, that we might have a separate meeting, like a live meeting or work meeting in San Jose for this. I think that could
That's
be a good
great.
idea.
Bye for now.
Bye, Rob.
See you guys.
Okay, good. So perfect. All right. Yeah, Brett, good to have you on the call. So the interest for this base spec is here. We have we'll try to organize a separate meeting for this after the deadlines, after we have organized this, because this will probably make it into the modular data center update, but doesn't require a separate input. I think I wrote an abstract on it, but I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, thank you for getting those abstracts in, Carl.
Yeah,
I think you're right. We need some separate offline calls to try and make some progress. It's a challenge for me.
yeah.
You
No,
can
yeah.
probably tell.
Just let me know when it's good for you, or if you need a later time. I'll reserve Wednesdays and Thursdays, to be able to also accommodate, larger US time zones, or later US time zones, right?
I will say, Carl, I don't know. Do you work Friday afternoons regularly?
Yeah.
My Friday mornings are typically the best day of the week for me. So if you want to
All
shoot
right.
for some
Yeah.
Friday mornings,
Yeah.
mid-afternoon your time, so it's not too late for you.
No, that sounds perfect. Sounds good. I'll make a note. All right. Friday morning. That's good. Okay. And we'll try to get in. Try to get in some either Rob, Brandon. See if we get a lot of people in there.
Okay.
Okay. We have a couple of new faces here. Pradeep Reddy. He already said he wanted to join. Pradeep, if you have any question, or if you have any something, I'm happy to support that or answer that now.
Hi, Carl. Hi, everyone. This is my first call. Sorry, I joined little late.
No worries.
Yeah, I'm just getting started learning more about this OCP MDC program through Wiki and some other resources. And I will reach out to Carl for any help.
Yeah, no worries. We're happy to welcome you here and support you in whatever way we can. Good. We also have somebody else here. So this is John Jacoby. Hi. What's your background and how we can support you on the journey of modular data centers?
Yeah, so yeah, I'm new. I'm new to this. I'm new to this role in the company. I represent Foxconn and the interconnect business. So
Yeah.
we're keeping an eye on of course this new open server architecture, and see how Foxconn can support you with interconnects.
Oh, okay. So the interconnects would be what do you mean specifically? What type of interconnects are those?
Well, currently we're doing all the connectors for PCIe and USB cables, the transceivers. So we do quite a bit of work for the server and data center applications, which I think is what OCP is focusing on.
Yeah.
And
But yeah,
so,
yeah. But this is the
what new
modular
directions
data
you're going?
center. Yeah, this is the
Modular
modular
data
data
center.
center group. So there are lots of very interesting groups for you, and we were happy to welcome you here if you are in terms of the cabling and PCIe interconnects. So, but I'm not sure if we are you're 100% fit in
Yeah,
terms of
yeah,
but happy to
we're still trying to.
there's lots of interesting activity going about a group called Data DC MHS, Modular Hardware System. That's something I'm also working or I'm using. I'm not participating in their calls so regularly, but that's something I'm also very interested in, and maybe that's also something to consider. I think they do a lot of interesting work around CXL and PCIe, interconnects and all those things. Yeah.
Okay, so DC MHS would be a better
That would
fit
be
for
something
Connect.
that would be something very interesting, I think, for you. And also, for example, the OCP server. I think there's an OCP server group. It's a regular. Um, let me just see if we can OCP. No, that's not the OCP page. Open Compute. Sorry, let's get go. So there should be, in terms of projects, just quickly, there's hardware management, which maybe is interesting to you. So you're now in the data center facilities part in the modular data center subgroup. There is server, there is high performance NICs, which could be interesting, accelerators, composable memory, and DCMHS. So that is, I think, something close to Foxconn's nature. And there's some other things like storage, sustainability, and maybe even future technologies that could be interesting for your or for you specifically. We were happy to welcome you here, but I'm not sure if we can keep you interested with our
Right.
relatively hardware based solutions.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. Yeah, we're definitely on the hardware side, but we're interested in the interconnect portion of it, not the silicon.
Okay. No, perfect.
All right. Thanks.
Good. Don, since I have you on the
what level do you typically get into? Where you deal with the facility that your hardware resides in. You know what I mean? Because that's really pretty much where we work, is in we build the box that all that hardware resides in. So how much interaction has Foxconn got right now with different cooling methodologies, server cooling methodologies, and things like that? Is maybe there's some fit? I don't know.
Is that directed at me or Carl?
to you.
I'm sorry. My apologies.
Yeah. So right now I'm just part of the FIT, which is Foxconn Interconnect technology. But we're a big company. I think Foxconn's also building the boxes, and they're interested in the immersive cooling or next stage cooling technologies. Foxconn was building cars with Lordstown and supercomputer, building a quantum computer. So Foxconn's huge, and the little piece I see is just the connectors and interconnect. But
okay, you're strictly interconnect. Okay.
If they want me to get involved with immersive cooling and the boxes too, if there's just to keep an eye on what the new technology is where the new technology is going is what they're interested in. So there's a division that builds server frames, right? So anyway, it's a big company, and I'm brand new to this company, so I'm still learning the ropes myself.
Okay, perfect. Then we had another, yeah, thanks, John. Then we had another question from Don. Yeah, what is Open TCS and how can we support it? You know, I'm I'm
So
a big,
this
yeah, sorry.
this is a rogue effort by me. When I say rogue, in the nature of my industry, I go around and talk to people at data center shows about every other week. And one of the key things I'm running into is a lot of the industry wants to open up the TCS, the technology cooling solution. And I don't know what I mean by that is today, if you buy cold plate, chances are you buy an integrated solution of both a CDU, a pipe solution, and a rack system. But the reality ends up being 3 years from now, will you still, or 5 years from now, will you still use the same cold plate device? Is it possible to actually swap in some other vendor's cold plate or door heat exchangers or something like that? Once you have the structure all, can you, and the fundamental barrier is alignment of delta T and in the temperature. So in essence, pretty much everything in a data center that needs liquid, if it was able to operate in a certain category of delta T and inlet temperature, you could go from door heat exchanger to cold plate as long as you met an open TCS solution. Does that conversation make sense and is of any interest?
I think that's so to me that's very interesting. I see some efforts in that direction. For example, there's a Polish liquid cooling company called DCEX that sometimes join this call also, and they have a modular cold plate in the sense that they can adapt to different sockets. It's not necessarily open technology, but it's somewhat a step in the direction that you mentioned, that you know can use that same cold plate maybe after it served 5 years on the first CPU, and then you just put it on different adapters, and then you can use the next generation. And yeah, we're happy to use the base spec as platform for open TCS technologies. You know.
So, and that, I guess, a question: do you see a modular data center being something that could transition from, say, door heat exchangers to cold plate?
Yes and yes and no. So the interesting thing is that we now just after this call, together with John Fernandez from the rear door heat exchanger group, you know him, right?
Yes.
We are working on a white paper which we want eventually turn later on into a spec for hybrid cooling, so cold plate and rear door heat exchanger to capture,
Right.
you know, 100%. And because the manifold and the rear door heat exchanger, or the rack for the rear door heat exchanger, is already OCP open hardware, right? So we want to build upon that to basically say, okay, with native OCP technology, cooling technology, to see how much we can densify in the existing air-cooled 90 kW frame. And by that also making, you know, the manifolds and the rear door heat exchanger open cooling technologies.
So
in a way, you know.
would they connect with a liquid loop, or would they connect to a heat exchanger and dump it to the air loop, the air side?
So basically, it's a water cooled loop that first goes through at low temperatures through the rear door heat exchanger,
Right.
and then it goes to the manifolds for the cold plate. And by that we have a huge delta T. You know, we get a very big delta T, and don't have any real air cooling in that modular data center. right?
So
Because
here's the way I'd
100%.
break that. Yeah. So what I would
Yeah.
say is at day one, if you're using door heat exchangers, you'd be working with maybe a 10 to 14 degree delta T Fahrenheit, or 6 to 8 degree centigrade, or something like that.
Yeah.
But then at year 3 or 5, to what you just described, maybe a jump to a 30 degree delta T, at which point you probably would need to use a slightly different CDU or modify your CDU to be able to accomplish the higher delta T.
Yeah.
But your basic pipe distribution and everything else would fundamentally could be the same. You're not going to do anything bigger than a probably a 4-inch pipe. With a modular, you might use a 3-inch pipe, or with a small module. With a data center, you do 4-inch or 6-inch is probably what you're going to be doing. But the goal ends up being to potentially have people categorize their IT by common technology group for CDUs. So you have a category 1 CDU that's say 8 to 12 centigrade, or 6 to 10 centigrade. And then you have a category whatever, maybe a category 3 CDU that would be 20 centigrade. And you look at the concept of you leave as much place as possible. The pipe system is still going to be constrained by size and flow rates, and you don't have to swap out the pipe or anything else, or you could if you needed to. The key challenge we have in the industry is right now, if you start going anything cloud scale, we don't have the manufacturing capacity to do cloud scale hundreds of CDUs of the size that people are talking about. I don't know if that impacts the modular industry as much as it does if you're going to build a 150 megawatt data center, you're going to need 300 CDUs at least. Anyway, I don't want to make this your issue. It's an issue that I'm trying to looking at possibly starting up another sub project on, and it may have some overlap to what you're doing. So that's all.
Absolutely, so the limitation in a way is that there need we're now working with for that particular case I was naming, we're working together with a CDU manufacturer, right? And there are a lot of CDU manufacturer associated to the OCP, and it probably would be necessary for Meta, Google, Amazon, or Microsoft, or someone saying, look, we know, exactly what you described. Our next liquid data center is liquid cooled. We need 300 CDUs. This is the open design. We came up with this through Don and Carl or whoever, right? And this is the thing. This is the thing that we now give to 150 we give to the biggest CDU manufacturer, and then 50 to the next, and 40 to the next, and so we have 300 CDUs to build our cloud scale data center, right? For that to be doing, we need like an open CDU approach.
Right. So there is a CDU sub project or CDU work stream associated with ACF. But ACF, Advanced Cooling Facilities, is primarily looking at advanced cooling facilities, not the TCS. Okay.
Yeah.
So whether or not this open TCS falls under ACF, or becomes a separate group together, so we have ACF and open TCS as being two sub projects, because it basically the TCS is bridging, if you will, the gap between the pretty much the cold plate door heat exchanger and the facility side. So as we look at a CDU, we got to look at it not only from the facility side, where 8 degrees centigrade is, if you assume that as being close to a standard for many data centers on their facility water side, that tells you that a 6-inch pipe is a 1 megawatt or 1.2 megawatt, and a 4-inch pipe is a 600 kW, and a 3-inch pipe is max a 300 kW. So anyway, I don't want to go this too far. The other thing I'm trying to do is map out some of our work streams better so that we know how to cross correlate. I don't know that we have a good mapping of our work stream hierarchies. And if you have a good mapping, like, I don't know, is there a standard org chart kind of map that really would help? it might be useful. That I don't know if I got to figure that out a little bit more. Anyway, I've taken more of it this time, but I am moving forward with this because everyone I talk to says this is where our industry needs to open up a lot. We need to open up. Right now, there's too many cold plate manufacturers that are keeping the temperature and delta T requirements as intellectual property. And the problem with that is like a server manufacturer saying that the voltage and the amperage is intellectual property. We wouldn't have servers if we did that, at least not at cloud scale. So that's kind of where we're going. But to your point, it'll probably take the cloud providers to actually make that happen.
I think it's a very good idea. I think it would be a logical step once there is like a common agreement to go liquid cooling, which kind of is navigating in the room. And if you then find out you want to build it and realize, okay, I don't get enough CDUs being built, so I have to send the same spec to everyone or open it and they can comment and get everyone to approve it, and then source it from everyone. And then we just take it and can highlight it in, for example, our modular data center space. That will be perfect thing to do. I'll suggest you talk to Marshek from DCX about it if you would be interested to be part of that, because he promotes the CDUs. He has a really nice range of CDUs.
Can you ping me his contact info?
Yeah, I'll do. I'll do that now.
And the only other thing I would like to highlight is I get so focused on cooling environments, I tend to not pay attention to some of the other projects that are like facilities, which are very closely. I mean, we're symbiotic and we're part of facilities. I need to figure out how to more effectively keep facilities informed of what we're doing and be aware of what facilities doing. So at the very least, we don't duplicate it. We don't want you doing a work stream on CDUs. If we're doing a work stream on CDUs, we want one work stream on CDUs.
Yeah, we have. I'm happy to invite you. In 8 minutes, I'm talking about with John Fernandez from Meta and Philip Boisvert from who's a Boyant, CDU manufacturer, who did the calculation for us for this hybrid cooling. Maybe we should talk 5 minutes about this there also.
Yeah, if that's a call. If I can attend that, I'd be very fascinated in that call. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send you an email or with the link or the required the required connection right away. Yeah, perfect. I'll see if I can forward that to you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Thanks. Then we had a good. Everybody was able to speak up. Brad, did you saw my my WhatsApp request?
I did not, Carl. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'm on my phone calls because I can never get my microphone to work with this application. But let me look here real quick.
No, yesterday I was in the group you and me and Brennan have. I was asking regarding like a modular data center presentation to make this more or to just free it up a little bit and have always somebody explaining their modular data center solution. But I didn't get feedback from you. Excuse me?
You mean for this monthly call?
Yeah, for the monthly call. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Perfect. No, let's, yeah, then I don't, it's not an issue, because this meeting flew by, in an instant, but for the next one, I would love to just highlight, either PCX or Cupertino Electric, or even if we get a feedback from Dell or Delta to, have ideally monthly modular data center manufacturer presenting.
Yeah, if you can give me, once you know your agenda, how it looks for next month, just give me a day or two's notice, and I have something I can put together. I can present very quickly. Sure.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So any last questions? This went quicker by than expected. But let's see, Dawn and Dawn. I'll try to send you this in an email really quickly. Okay. Good. No, Brett. Then any last words?
Nope,
Or we
not for me.
just.
Thanks, Carl.
Yeah, should we just try to set up a call beginning of next week with Madhu to work through the document, what Kate,
Yeah.
the homework Kate gave us, basically?
Yeah. Madhu and I used to have a weekly meeting on Mondays, and we have not talked in, well, longer than I care to admit. So
Yeah.
I think it would be a good idea. Why don't I what I'll do is I will forward you some. Well, you tell me. Is it too late your time? It's at about 11 o'clock Eastern time, which would be what, about 5 p.m. your time on Monday.
5 p.m. Like I'm I'm my own boss, so that is where the day gets started. So no worries.
Okay. So yes, we have a call. We have a call at 11. Yeah, it's 11 a.m. on. I don't know what I'm sorry, my laptop's doing something really funny with my calendar right now. It's okay. Anyway, yes. So I will forward this to you, and if it doesn't work, just let me know, Carl, and that'll force Madhu and me to kind of get together, which we need to do.
Awesome. I'm happy to join, and also send me Madhu's info. Then we can add him to the WhatsApp group, to the modular data center, so he knows what's going on. Yeah, and so
I'll text you the contact info to that. Sure.
Thanks. Perfect.
Thank you, Carl.
Okay. Thanks everyone. That's it for today. Thanks for all the input. And yeah, let's move modular data center to liquid cooling.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Carl.
Thanks, Carl.